You know what? We'd moved to Switzerland before I decided to get off the road and stop, or take a break, I guess. I just really needed to take a break.
At 60, Shania Twain is finally breaking her silence. For decades, her life has been surrounded by rumors about the hardships of her childhood, the mystery of her health struggles, and the devastating betrayal that shattered her marriage. Through it all, she smiled for the cameras, sold out arenas, and kept her private pain locked away. Fans saw the dazzling outfits, the Grammys, and the stadium tours. What they didn't see were the nights filled with fear, the years of battling illness, and the heartbreak that nearly ended her career and her life. Now, with age giving her both freedom and perspective, Shania has chosen to confirm the whispers that once followed her every step. The truth is raw, painful, and inspiring all at once. Behind the glitter and global fame is a woman who endured poverty, violence, and loss, yet turned every scar into a symbol of strength. Her story isn't just about music, it's about survival, reinvention, and learning to embrace the truth no matter how dark it once was. And for the first time, Shania Twain is pulling back the curtain, letting the world see the woman behind the legend. Shania Twain's story began in the small town of Windsor, Ontario, on August 28, 1965. Born as Ellen Regina Edwards, Shania's early years were defined by hardship. At just 2 years old, her parents separated, and she was raised by her mother, Sharon, who struggled to provide for Shania and her sisters. Life was tough, and money was tight. The family moved constantly, sometimes 3 times in a single year, just to escape the weight of unpaid bills. Their house was small, cold, and often lacked basic necessities like electricity. Meals were scarce, and some days they couldn't even afford enough food to eat. But despite the struggles, music became Shania's escape. Her mother noticed her talent early on. At just 3 years old, Shania was already singing along to the songs of her time. By the time she was 4, she could play simple tunes on a toy guitar. The cold winters in their mining town were harsh, often dipping as low as -30 degrees. But the family survived, hunting moose, catching fish, and making do with whatever they could. Shania's first experience with performing came when she won a $5 prize at a talent show at the age of 5. That victory sparked something in her, and music became a lifeline, a way to dream beyond the walls of their rundown home. Despite all the challenges, Sharon believed in Shania's talent, driving her hundreds of miles to participate in small talent shows. It wasn't easy, but it was the beginning of Shania's journey to something much bigger. Shania's early life wasn't just filled with poverty, it was also marked by fear and trauma. In 1968, when Shania was only 3, her mother remarried Jerry Twain, a man who would become both a source of stability and terror. Jerry, an Ojibwe man who adopted Shania and her sisters, brought an unpredictable and violent presence into their home. His temper was infamous, and soon, Shania witnessed her mother being beaten, sometimes in front of them. These violent episodes became a regular part of her childhood. At just 6 years old, Shania had to step into the role of protector. She started singing in local bars to help make ends meet, often performing late into the night. As the years passed, the violence escalated. By the time Shania was 8, she was singing in bars after midnight, enduring the dangers of a grown-up world she wasn't ready for. Drunk men in the audience sometimes harassed her, and one man even grabbed her during a performance. It was these terrifying moments that forced Shania to grow up quickly. She would wear multiple layers of clothing to hide her changing body, hoping to avoid unwanted attention. But despite the abuse and fear that haunted her at home, Shania kept singing. Each performance paid just enough to buy food or help with the bills, making it feel like the only way to survive. In her songwriting, she found a way to escape. At 10, she wrote songs to channel her pain. One of them, "Mama, Won't You Come Out to Play," reflected her mother's depression and the struggles they faced at home. Music became her therapy, her lifeline, a way to make sense of the chaos around her. By the time Shania was 22, life would deliver another devastating blow. In November 1987, tragedy struck when her mother, Sharon, and stepfather, Jerry, were killed in a head-on crash with a logging truck. They were on their way to a job site near Kapus Singh. The news hit Shania like a freight train. Her entire world collapsed. She received the call from her sister, and it was clear this was more than just a loss. It was the loss of everything she had known, her past and her future, all at once. In an instant, Shania was forced to grow up even more quickly. She had to step into the role of guardian for her 3 younger siblings, Carrie Ann, Mark, and Daryl. dreams of a music career were put on hold as Shania took responsibility for their lives, working tirelessly to ensure they were fed, clothed, and cared for. The life of a young artist was no longer her priority. To support her siblings, she took a job performing at Deerhurst Resort in Huntsville, Ontario in 1988. For the next 5 years, Shania performed every night, putting her energy into entertaining while juggling her responsibilities at home. The resort gig was a turning point in her life, her first real opportunity to make it as a performer. But even in the midst of this new opportunity, Shania's focus remained on her family. By 1993, the sacrifices she made for her siblings had helped her learn resilience, but it also meant putting her own dreams on a shelf. The weight of responsibility didn't let up, but it didn't break her. By 1989, at 23, Shania made the bold decision to leave her family and head to Nashville, the heart of country music. She adopted the name Shania Twain, using her stepfather's surname, and set her sights on a career that had once seemed impossible. But Nashville wasn't kind to her at first. Shania was unique, blending country with rock elements, and the traditional country music scene wasn't ready for her. Her demo tapes were rejected, and the music industry seemed uninterested. Despite the setbacks, Shania refused to give up. She worked odd jobs, including cleaning houses, to fund her singing lessons. Sometimes she didn't even have a place to stay, but she kept pushing forward. Her determination caught the attention of producer Robert John "Mutt" Lang, who had worked with major acts like AC/DC and Def Leppard. Lang saw something in Shania, and in 1991, he signed her to a record deal. Her debut album, released in 1993, was a modest success, but it didn't set the world on fire. It sold only 100,000 copies, and the critics didn't quite know what to make of her. Shania didn't have control over the album's direction, and she was limited to writing just one track. Yet, it was the beginning of something bigger. The country music world hadn't seen anything like her, and while her debut didn't do well, it set the stage for a revolution in country music. In 1993, just as Shania was facing the harsh realities of the music industry, her world was about to change forever. Enter Robert John "Mutt" Lang, famous for his work with iconic rock bands like Def Leppard. Lang was captivated by Shania's voice and unique style, and their partnership would soon become one of the most transformative in country music history. Mutt and Shania quickly formed a close creative bond, not just professionally, but personally. By December 1993, they were married, just 6 months after they met. This relationship would lead to the creation of Shania's game-changing album, The Woman in Me. Released in 1995, the album was unlike anything Nashville had seen before. It merged country with a pop sensibility, a fusion that many critics initially dismissed as a bubblegum version of country music. But Shania's talent and Mutt's production genius could not be denied. The Woman in Me sold over 12 million copies in the US alone by 1997, and the album's success was unprecedented for a female country artist. Songs like Whose Bed Have Your Boots Been Under? And Any Man of Mine quickly climbed both country and pop charts, solidifying Shania's place in the music world. Her rise was swift. As she toured North America, she became the face of a new era in country music, an era where women took control, both in front of and behind the mic. But the success came with its challenges. Country radio stations, some of which were staunchly traditional, pulled her songs off the air. Yet, Shania didn't apologize for blending pop into her country sound. In fact, she defended it, saying it wasn't about abandoning country, it was about moving it forward. By the late 1990s, Shania Twain was at the peak of her career. Her albums The Woman in Me and Come On Over had catapulted her to superstardom, and she was breaking records left and right. Come On Over became the best-selling album by a female artist of all time, selling over 40 million copies worldwide. Hits like You're Still the One, and From This Moment On became anthems, marking Shania as the face of modern country music. Her performances were electrifying. Crowds of thousands cheered as she danced across stages in outfits that showed off her newfound confidence. But behind the scenes, Shania's health was beginning to fail her. She had been living with undiagnosed Lyme disease, contracted in 2003, and it was starting to take a toll on her body. Her voice, once her greatest strength, was now weakening. She could feel her vocal cords struggling to keep up with the grueling demands of her career. Yet, she pushed forward. She continued touring, performing at over 150 cities across North America and beyond, earning millions and garnering critical acclaim. Despite the physical pain, she kept up her rigorous schedule, performing sold-out shows and even earning multiple Grammy Awards. But the strain was becoming too much. She was dealing not only with Lyme disease but with the anxiety that came with it, the fear that she might never sing again, the fear that her body would betray her. She had moments when she couldn't even control her balance on stage due to dizziness and blackouts, but she kept going. She was not just an entertainer, she was a warrior, battling both her health and the pressures of being a global star. In May 2008, Shania's world came crashing down in a way no one could have anticipated. After 15 years of marriage, she discovered that her husband and musical partner, Robert John "Mutt" Lang, had been having an affair with none other than her best friend and personal assistant, Marie Ann Thibault. The shock and betrayal hit Shania like a tidal wave. She had built everything with Mutt, her music career, her family, her life, and now it felt like it was all crumbling. The betrayal didn't just break her marriage. It shattered Shania's sense of trust and security. But even in her devastation, she found a way to carry on. Her initial reaction was a mixture of shock and denial, followed by deep emotional collapse. She withdrew from the public eye, retreating to Switzerland to heal from the pain. The grief was overwhelming. Shania admitted that it felt like losing her parents all over again, the same kind of deep, gut-wrenching loss she had experienced when her mother and stepfather died in a car crash years earlier. It was during this time of pain that something unexpected happened. Shania found solace in her new connection with Frederick Thibault, Marie Ann's ex-husband, who had also been devastated by the affair. Through shared heartbreak, the two found comfort in each other's presence, and in 2011, they married. Despite the emotional weight of the betrayal, Shania found a way to forgive Mutt. She didn't forget, but she realized that his mistakes were his to carry, not hers. Still, the aftermath of the affair left her feeling isolated, broken, and unsure of what her future would hold. After the devastation of her divorce, Shania Twain chose to retreat from the public eye. From 2008 to 2011, she disappeared from the music scene, withdrawing to a quiet life in Switzerland. The heartbreak of losing her marriage, coupled with the weight of everything she had endured, left her emotionally shattered. The pain of betrayal by the person closest to her was unbearable, but the physical toll of Lyme disease was just as consuming. Diagnosed with the disease in 2003, Shania had struggled silently with its symptoms: fatigue, dizziness, and weakness, which only worsened during her time away from the spotlight. During this period, Shania focused on healing, not just from the emotional scars of her failed marriage, but also from her physical health battles. She spent time in therapy, both to work through her trauma and to reclaim her mental well-being. Her journey of self-discovery led her to publish her autobiography in 2011, From This Moment On. The book became a cathartic release for Shania, allowing her to finally open up about her painful past, growing up in poverty, enduring years of abuse, losing her parents, and of course the betrayal that nearly destroyed her. The book was raw and honest, reflecting the woman behind the superstar, and it resonated with millions of readers worldwide. As her personal life began to stabilize, Shania made a bold decision. She would return to the stage. In December 2012, she kicked off her Still the One Las Vegas residency. But Shania's road back was anything but easy. Her voice, once her greatest asset, had been severely impacted by Lyme disease. She could no longer hit the same high notes or sing with the same power. It was a devastating blow for a performer who had spent her career wowing audiences with her powerful vocals. Yet, she was determined. Shania underwent surgery in 2018 to repair the damage to her vocal cords. The procedure was risky, and she was awake the entire time, singing to ensure the right repairs were made. It was a defining moment in her recovery, both physically and emotionally. Despite the fear, she persevered. At 60, Shania Twain has proven that resilience doesn't have an expiration date. Her journey from an abused child living in poverty to one of the best-selling female artists in history is nothing short of extraordinary. But it's not just her music that defines her legacy. It's the strength, courage, and self-acceptance she embodies. In 2023, with her album Queen of Me, Shania embraced aging, menopause, and the freedom of self-love. She posed topless for the album cover, a bold declaration of reclaiming her body and her power after decades of shame. Her Queen of Me tour, which included 75 shows, was proof that Shania still had the magic that made her a household name. In the face of personal and professional challenges, Shania has not only survived, she's thrived. As she reflects on her journey, she's a living testament to overcoming adversity and rewriting your own story. Shania's story is proof that no matter what you've been through, there's always a way forward. What part of Shania's incredible journey inspires you the most? Let us know in the comments below.